Hello, so this video is an introduction to my experience as a Christian on the spectrum. So the goal of this series, well, to start with, I want to be as raw and uncut as possible. I've never done something like this before. I'm not the best at public speaking, so I wanted to try to be more as relatable. I want to be as relatable as possible. So I'm going to try to be honest with my experiences. And my goal is to maybe raise awareness on the topic a little bit, maybe encourage some people out there, and also to maybe start a discussion on how we, in the community, we as Christians on the spectrum in the community, how we can utilize our unique gifts to bring salvation. So I want to start by talking a little bit about myself, how I became a Christian, what my experience was like, being a Christian on the spectrum. So my name is Mike. I am 30, and I became a Christian in 2013, junior year of college at 21. I was diagnosed as being on the spectrum when I was 14. Now, I understand that everybody is different when it comes to being on a spectrum. There's low functioning and there's high functioning. So they don't call it anymore, but what I have is they call it Asperger. That's high functioning. That's for me, it's more of a social difficulties among other things. So growing up, I didn't really have much religious exposure. My family, well, my mom and my aunt, the family that I had considered themselves Jewish, but we never really went to synagogue, so it started out with me kind of looking at things on my own. This was actually a big obsession of mine when it came to looking into unsolved mysteries, ghost stories, demons, aliens, that kind of fringe stuff. And I remember I was just looking into these things, and over time I came across, who Jesus Christ was, and I remember reading, well, Jesus Christ can banish demons, and I thought that's cool, and then I came across how, well, you're not going to go to heaven unless you accept Jesus. And I was like, okay. Didn't think much of it. And I do remember one of my coworkers, I was working at Walmart at the time, and this was mid-2012. I just remember we were talking about the things I was reading about, and he started talking to me about life of a Christian, how serious it is. I was thinking about it. And at first it didn't really register, but then a couple of months after that, I started living on campus at a different university, and I met somebody who actually, I was actually walking through the center of campus. He was a campus missionary, and I remember just walking through there, and he just randomly asked me, like, oh, what do you think God looks like? And I remember seeing a picture of Zeus and a picture of Christ. And I said, oh, it's got to be Zeus. That looks more realistic and godlike to me. So at that point, he invited me to one of his study groups, and that particular, I think it was like a week later, we met again at a Starbucks, and I decided then, all right, I want to give my life to Christ. Now, as I think back on that very night, I know a lot of people have a big-time emotional experience. They may have gone through something big, and then God visited them at their rock bottom at their darkest moments. It may have been a big-time emotional experience for other people. For me, there wasn't much emotion there. It was just like, yeah, I want Christ. Like, yeah, it was just, this is me personally, I tend to struggle when it comes to experiencing emotions. This is something that's common for us in the spectrum. It's not, expressing emotions is not something that's one of our strengths, I guess, or if we do express it, it's a little bit more of an abnormal way. Now, I'm not speaking for everybody, I'm just speaking to myself specifically. But I just remember that night. It was the week after my 21st, and I gave my life to Christ that night. And since then, so this was 2013, it's 2022 now. We're looking at 9 years. Now, there's been lots of ups and downs. It's been quite an experience. And this is something I intend to talk about in future episodes, about my experience as a Christian involving, brotherly love, serving Christ, some other topics that I'll come up with as time goes on. Again, this is raw and uncut.